In an ever-changing climate, up-to-date financial information is key to understanding your personal situation. All circumstances are individual, and nothing said or implied during this episode can be taken as financial advice or direction.
Regardless of whatever it is that you're thinking of financing, however wacky, weird, if you've been told by someone that lenders won't finance it or there's no way to do it, just talk to us first. There's normally a way to structure something to make it happen.
How are we, gentlemen?
We're good.
What's cracking?
Comfortable.
Did you have a good drive down? All the fucking crazies on the road with the weather?
They actually weren't too bad.
Well, because you guys were coming from the sunny coast, so yeah, you wouldn't have been too bad. That trip in the morning sucks.
Yeah. Oh, it still wasn't fantastic on the way down this afternoon, though, especially with the rain. Maybe for you because you're up higher, it was okay, but all I had was your spray on my windscreen the entire time.
Why didn't you just go in front?
Too dangerous.
Fair
Too dangerous. I couldn't see what was in front of me as it was. I wasn't going to boot it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Northbound look worse, as it normally does this time of day.
Yeah, northbound out of Brendale's, that's fucking horrible from about like 3. It's what time you normally go through? Your gateway though, yeah.
Yeah, gateway.
Yeah, I go over the bridge to head back into the city, and it's just always fucking bumper to bumper. It's terrible. But yeah, at least you'd be sweet after this though. Shouldn't be too much left.
Wow.
So, Sam and Roudy.
That's us.
Fox Finance Group. I got to ask you because it's like the first off, like Roudy. That's not a nickname. That's your real name.
It's my real name. It's on my driver's license. It's on my birth certificate. Yeah, and I get asked that all the time.
It's it does have a bit of a kind of like your parents were like really into Yellowstone, but you're a bit too old for that to have been right. But
it's pretty close. I think it came from Rawhide.
Okay, there you go.
Clint Eastwood's character in Rawhide's Rowdy Yates, and my mum used to ride horses, and we lived on a horse stud. So
oh yeah, that's cool.
There's either that or yeah, maybe they had too many bourbons when they were trying to pick my name.
There you go. That's cool though. It's different. I've never met anyone named Roudy before.
I think there's lots of imposters, people that have got nicknames.
Yeah,
but I'm the OG.
Yeah, fair enough. And so, all right, you guys come down because obviously Fox Finance, we recommend you guys for pretty much anybody that wants anything to do with finance. So whether it's one of our builds or they're just refurbishing their own rig or whatever the case may be. So why don't you give us a bit of an update? Tell everybody what it is that you guys do beyond my 30 seconds of sales pitch for you, but give us a bit of a rundown as to what's involved with Fox Finance.
Well, pretty well. Been around since 2006. As you said, on the Sunshine Coast. We do everything like builds, rebuilds, purchasing a car normally, boats, bikes, caravans, home loans, the whole lot. Can do that because we've got over 50 different lenders that we deal with on our panel, 50 different banks essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got access to a wide variety, help a wide variety of people. Yeah, it's good. It's every day is different. Everyone's situation is different, but we love it. And stuff like this is something that I'm passionate about. You send the Lux out the front.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Most of the boys in there are the same. Rowdy's into his street cars, so if you've got anything along those lines, he loves it. So,
Are you more the sort of Euros and stuff like that, or street cars in general?
Yeah, street cars in general. Yeah. I've got a Euro car at the moment, but that's only because I haven't been able to bankroll the cost of building something that's a big supercharged, turbocharged, fire-breathing V8. So
yeah,
in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, we had a bloke come down the other day who's got a old early 70s fastback Mustang. Wants to do a full respray, colour change, bit of rust repair, all the gear on that, and it's nice. Yeah. That's nice. And sort of those sorts of ones for me are because four-wheel drives is pretty much all day, every day down here. But when typically if anybody's got a four-wheel drive, they're usually towing something, and in this case, it's toys. And you're like, yes, okay, that's not that I don't. I'm all for the new Mustangs too. I like anything that'll go fast and you can have a bit of fun in. But yeah, the old ones that's nice.
We've got a big wall in the office where whenever someone finances something, so whether it's a car, jet ski, bike, whatever it is, we encourage them to get a photo with it.
Yeah.
And then we put them up on this big wall, all these different awesome things that we've been able to finance. And there's some really nice classic cars on there.
Yeah, I bet there
some
would
nice Mustangs, There was, what was the one? There's a GT 500 Super Snake
Yeah,
that we were
yeah.
able to finance. We had to do it as an unsecured loan because of the age of it, and it was a grey import technically as well. But when the guy went and picked it up, he took photos, he took videos of it sitting there lumping away. It was, it was a
Fuck me,
cool thing to see.
An unsecured, you know, I mean, obviously you can't go into specifics, but that's not going to have been cheap. An unsecured loan on something like that.
I can't remember because it was a few years ago now what the actual rate was that he got. But unsecured loans, basically, they're not reliant on the asset that you're purchasing. So if you're buying, say you're purchasing an older four-wheel drive or something like that, if it's 20 years old, something along those lines, a lot of lenders don't want to finance and take security of that.
Right.
So an unsecured loan goes off of your strength as an applicant. So if you've paid all your bills on time, you've had some kind of good credit history, you've got a stable job, not necessarily. The rate will be a little bit higher maybe than what a secured loan would be.
Yeah.
But nothing that's going to be outrageous in most instances.
You see, that blows my mind because you would think they're like, okay, so the newer the car, the more they're likely to use it as an encumbrance or financial security.
Yeah, security, yeah.
But it's like you get a new car, in 5 minutes, that's going to have gone down in value.
Yep.
Whereas you get something like an old Mustang like that, that's only going to get more valuable. That just makes no sense to me. I would think it'd be the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good way to think of it is like if the car's a bit older and in their mind they don't want to take it as security, they're going to load the rate. Whereas if you do it as unsecured, it's one rate. They're not going to load it.
Yeah, okay.
So it's most of the time it comes back pretty similar. Maybe a bit more expensive, sometimes cheaper. It's like it's a case by case thing, but
yeah.
And so do you guys get you get sort of staff discounts on insurance rates? No, insurance. What am I talking about? Interest rates?
I wish.
No,
No, we don't. We don't control the banks, unfortunately. So we get the same as everyone else.
God, I'd have all the toys.
Yeah.
All the toys.
Yeah.
But you're in okay. So you've got what year's your Hilux?
2016.
That's your facelift N70.
It's an N80.
N80, of course.
Yeah.
It is.
So she's good. Keeps me in and out of trouble.
Yes.
I've watched it go from looking moderately stock when I first started working and he joined the business.
Yeah.
And now you see the thing that's parked out there and there's not one thing that's stock on it.
No, that's how it should be. It's a personal expression of exactly how crazy you are.
At least you use it though.
It does get used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used and abused, but no other way to do it, in my opinion.
What's well, you guys are up the sunny coast, so what's your sort of tracks up there? You like your quick afternoon trip, or are you more of you like going touring?
Yeah, I like the weekend stuff.
Yeah.
Did the Cape last year, which was good.
Yeah. In that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So, yeah, I got the same response from a lot of people. It's too shiny to go up there, but no, it did that. Glass House I used to love, but it's got flattened a little bit recently.
Yeah, we've been talking about that a bit lately with Little Red and all that, Big Red.
Yeah, normal DI, Bribey, stuff like that, Kenilworth.
Kenilworth, the dairy farm up there, Shane, I think it was Shane that owned it last time I was up there, but that's just a beautiful spot up there. It's like Kenilworth as far as, what is that, about an hour and a half north of here? So that'd only be half hour, 40 minutes for you guys.
Yeah, 40 minutes
around
that, and then go out to Imble from Kenilworth.
Yeah.
We did that, the 4x4 network meet, that stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm involved in as well, so that was Kenilworth to Imble 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
So that's always good fun.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good spot up there. We're relocating at the moment. We're heading up to Bribey. A nice little it's an older place, but it's on the beach there. That's just a bit of a lifestyle shift. Same thing, because it's like I haven't been away for so long. I'm like, fuck it. If I can't take time off, I'll just move to the beach.
Fair call.
And it's like a fucking big drive every day,
but worth it.
Yeah.
In theory. Well, we'll see. We'll see how I feel. We'll see if I miss the run in the morning and I get stuck in that traffic. It's gonna go down like a fucking lead balloon, but I'll be all right.
You won't regret it. I grew up in Brisbane and moved to the sunny coast. So.
Yeah, no, I spent a bit of time up in Chancellor Park, Sippy Downs. Mm-hmm. Went down to Caloundra and then pissed off further up the coast many moons ago. But it's it's a good spot up there. I like it. It's a lot calmer. I mean, I don't know how much it's like now, but it's a lot calmer than the Goldie.
Yeah, it's on its way. It's definitely getting busier.
Yeah.
Development everywhere. Like I left to go and do university in 2011, 2012, and there wasn't a whole lot on the Sunshine Coast at that stage. And then it felt like when I came back 3 or 4 years later, Ocean Street had opened up and there's restaurants and bars and things everywhere, and the Sunshine Plaza all got more developed, and there's more estates and everything popping up everywhere as well. So it's definitely changing.
I think I was I got my first Facebook account when we were living up there, and I think that was 2008. So it was just a little bit before that.
Facebook account.
Yeah. Yeah, Facebook came out. And that was when someone rang me about fucking Bitcoin. I think it was
You should have jumped on that.
Oh dude, I think he wanted like $5,000 out of me, and I think Bitcoin at the time was about 20 cents each, and he wanted $5,000 off me.
Kicking
Like,
yourself.
what is this digital shit? Fuck off.
Time machine.
Yes.
Hindsight, eh?
Yeah, it is. It's a bit of fun, but you know, I look back on it and just go, well, you know, could have been a bazillionaire, but you know, now I'm still working on cars, so it's all good. I don't care.
You get there? You got plans?
I don't think they're that big. That's a lot of underbodies.
Fair call.
So, and what are you kicking around in? You've got a Audi.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize it's the same year model as yours. It's 2016 as well.
Yeah.
It's an RS3.
You're more into your street cars, more into the go fast, slam them down.
Yeah, in particular, that car has got the inline 5 that Audi is really famous for. I don't know if you've ever heard the sound that they make, but it's based off of their Group B rally car from back in the 80s, the thing that slayed all the competition, and it was the first car to have like a PDK sequential shift and everything in it as well, so heaps of technology.
Yeah.
Love that car to the extent that it's tattooed across the whole side of my leg.
Fair enough. Right.
But this car's been something I've always wanted to get because it's got that engine in it.
Yeah.
Love the sound of it.
So was the tattoo first? It was the goal, or did you get it and fall in love with the car and tattoo it on?
No, it would have been a bit weird to get this first and then try and get the car. So I got the car first.
You know, it's all right. You gotta have something on you every day then to know what you're working towards.
Yeah. Love to say one day I'll have one of those, but man, they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars now.
Yeah, no, they're a good rig. I had that. I think it was 2015, 2016. The A5 coupe, the manual. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that was my first ever Euro. No, I did. Oh God, ages ago. I had a really old Beamer, but no, first ever Euro, and that was it was a lot of fun. They're quick little fuckers. I don't know. I mean, yours is. I don't know. I have no idea what was in mine. It was a turbo. Oh, what's in the A5s? I think it was only a 4.
Yeah, or a 6. It
Might have been a turbo 6. Fucking
Turbo
oil
1.6.
leaks.
Yeah,
Oil leaks was shit.
infamous for it. I had a really good run with the first Euro car that I had, which was a typical, a little Golf GTI that I spent money on and did a turbo swap and those sorts of things. And it was wild because it's a front wheel drive car and it was full manual.
Torque steering all
with
up the road.
heavy duty NPC clutch and all that kind of stuff in it. So it was a nightmare to drive, but fun. But never really had any major issues with it.
Yep.
And then I got this, and after having it for just over a year, I went to merge onto the highway one day and I got the check engine light flash up and it kind of hesitated, and I thought, oh, maybe it's misfired. Pulled over, turned it off, let the ECU and everything kind of wind down and reset, jump back in. No, same thing, and it felt like it was running really rough and everything as well. Oh, okay, great. So I had to get it onto the back of a truck, get it to the mechanics, and it's at the mechanics, and I'm thinking, oh, he's just going to find something really routine that's wrong with this, and I get a phone call, and he never ever calls me, only ever sends messages over Messenger, so I thought that's not good. So I found the time to go out and call him, and he was like, mate, I've cracked the engine open, and your fuel injector has jammed on and just soaked the entire engine with fuel whole time. Hasn't turned off, and it's melted the piston, and it's also done damage to the internal part of the sleeve and everything as well. So it's done. So your options right now are, if you want to build a race car, we can park it up for 12 months and then we'll build an engine, which would have been great, but my partner would not have been happy with that decision.
Right.
So the other option was to just source an entirely new engine. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that
can't
was
have been cheap.
That was a bit of a change. Well, luckily, it came with a warranty. When I bought it from the guy in Sydney secondhand, it had a warranty on it still.
Yeah.
And the company fully honoured the warranty and covered the full replacement cost of the engine, the labour to fit it, everything.
Fucking kissed on the dick. What a joke. That's all. I mean, it's awesome, but damn, when do you hear an actual success story like that?
I can tell you that the whole way, it wasn't until the very, very end when they finally said, yeah, we'll make the payment and it's done, where I actually went, okay, and had some relief.
Yeah.
The rest of the month and a bit that it went on, I just thought, oh no, this is not going to end well.
A month and a bit
Yeah.
to get a full replacement engine paid for,
Yep.
I's dotted, T's crossed, done.
Yep.
How long were you without a car for a fucking bonnet switch? 4 months? 8 months? Fuck me. Kissed.
Yep.
Kissed on it.
Yep.
Good grief.
Very lucky. Very lucky.
Wow, that's cool. That's
yeah.
it's good. You really don't. You never hear stories like that. That's awesome.
No, so whenever someone tries to rip on warranties and those sorts of things, I'm kind of like, it saved me.
I remember we had several moons ago when the Craptivas came out. That fuck. I think there was a 2011, brand new one, first brand new car. I was like, I'm never buying a brand new car. Fair enough. You know, little fella kicking around. All right, new car, time. That's cool. I think that was it was brand new, and it was the petrol one, and it was sitting there idling in the driveway at my old workshop. Just little fellas in the back, just with the aircon on, you know. And I think it maybe I don't know. I keep guessing, but it was very little K's. The thing's brand new, and he's still a baby, so it's like less than 6 months old. And it just something shot through the casing of the gearbox and just dumped its guts on the driveway, just sitting there idling. And that took a while. I think that was about 6 or 8 weeks to get Holden to do anything about that.
Yeah.
And then, because I'm pretty sure the whole motor had to come out, and they damaged some sensor taking the motor out. And the first gearbox, when it rocked up, there was an issue and they didn't fit it. And then the second one rocked up and they fitted it, but they damaged some sensor and they tried to hit us for the damaged sensor. Well,
You did it.
it fucking had nothing to do with us, your workshop. It took us 3 weeks for them to organise a courtesy car. Like, it was just a dog shit situation, but it was a Captiva, so it's like, well, fucking serves you right.
I've got the nickname for a reason.
That thing was so bad. Which is shit because it looked all right. Like, we had a nice set of wheels on it and everything. It looked okay.
That's the trap, though, with them, right? I can remember when I didn't really know how much trouble they were. And we had, I think it was my brother that was looking to get a car, and it looks like a little SUV, and it looked like it was quite nice from the outside, and the inside looked all nice. And then you do your little bit of research on them. Nope, stay away from that.
Yeah, should have done that. Should have done that for sure. Now, getting on to some of the stuff that I wanted to hit you about, because 2018, I had a customer come in, which is where I first sort of wanted to start setting this up, was because of all of this. He came in, he was getting some work done on, I can't remember what it was. I want to say a Jeep, but it was about, I don't know, $6,000 worth of stuff. And he didn't have the spare cash and all that sort of shit. And I said, look, have a chat to these guys, because Dan, obviously Foxy, like I've known Dan since, God, I don't know, 20-something years. And I said, look, if anybody can sort you out, these guys will. And I think I'm pretty sure he had like a credit card and some other personal loan and I don't know, some other debt, whatever it was, like an easy pay or whatever. And I think it was you guys packaged that $6,000 up for the work with me and put all that other shit that he had into the loan as well. And it was like less money per week for him with the loan to get the work done that we were doing than he was paying for the other shit on its own.
Yeah.
And that's all that, the consolidation. Yeah. I got that right.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So that's what's the go with all that? Like what sort of options have people got these days?
Consolidations are awesome. Like, they're extremely popular. I'd say probably one of the most popular things we're doing with this day and age.
Yeah.
The reason that it saves so much money is, say that guy had 3 different things. They've all got one or like a different lot of interest each.
Yeah.
Say they were, 15% each. That's 45% interest a year.
Yeah.
If we come put it all into one at example, 10%.
Yeah.
It's paying 10% interest a year, one repayment.
Yeah.
It's it's always going to be cheaper. And as well, like if they're three different lenders that are smaller lenders, they might not report on his credit file, for example.
Yeah.
We go put him with one of our lenders that do. It's going to build up his credit file as well. So
Yeah, right.
consolidations are, they're great.
Yeah, they can also simplify things. Like if you've got multiple different loans coming out of different accounts at different times and you're struggling to try and, because we see people that manage their finances quite well, but that still sometimes causes problems matching up when pay goes in and loans come out and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So when you consolidate it, you take all those other little repayments, make one repayment.
Yeah.
So,
That makes sense.
So your actual commitment that you're repaying becomes less than what you're paying from all these other little ones, and it's only one payment you have to actually watch out for in your account as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know too much of the backstory of it, but I remember him saying like, whatever it was, whatever the amount that he was paying, he was like, dude, I'm fucking paying less now than I was before, and this work's all covered. I was like, sweet, winning.
And then you can also set that up in a way where a lot of lenders have got no penalty for early payout.
Yeah.
So something that we'd be seeing a fair bit of at the moment, especially with people trying to get, a bit of a break on the cost of living and those sorts of things, is if they've got multiple high interest rate loans and the weekly commitment that they're making is quite large, you can consolidate all of that, put it over a slightly longer term, which means that your minimum commitment reduces down to something that's a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
And then you can pay it off in a lump sum and you're not penalised. There's no penalty for early payout with those lenders as well.
Yeah, right.
So you get a lower weekly commitment, which frees up your cash flow to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you can pay it out and save on all the interest, because you only pay interest while you're in it. If you're in, say you're in a 3-year loan and you're going to pay $3,000 worth of interest over that 3 years, if you pay that loan out 1 year in, you don't pay $3,000 of interest. You're only paying the interest up to that point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I feel like there should be something in the application, because it's like every time, you get bored, a couple of beers at home, whatever, scroll on Marketplace, and there's like a boat, something like that pops up. You sit there and you look at it, you're like, I wonder what that'd be per week to pay back. But it's like, I look at shit like that, and it's definitely a want, not a need. But the biggest thing that I think throws, and I mean, you guys probably tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the biggest thing that's throwing everybody at the moment, I would think, would be all that interest that's gone up. I know my sister, her house repayments went up, like, I'm pretty sure they nearly doubled, in just because of the interest from the all this inflation and shit. Explain to me what the go is with all this inflation and what it sort of means, because I've had several different conversations and both of them from two different points of view make a lot of sense, and so it sort of, I figured, anybody that's going to be able to sort it out, shed some light on it, separate the shit, will be you guys.
I think mortgages are tricky because it's such a big amount of money. Well, there's no doubt that people are definitely paying more with that. I would say that people definitely haven't stopped spending by any means. There's definitely some people that are doing it tough that we see, but the people that we see that are, coming through are still pulling it together.
Yeah.
We see with some of our lenders though, like for example, the big banks, their rates, still a bit higher, but we have lenders that aren't governed by that, privately funded. We've actually seen rates coming down over the last 6 months with some of those lenders, which is great. Had another one this morning, which we use a lot, that come down.
Yeah.
So I guess, everyone's going to be different with how they're managing, but it's not all doom and gloom.
No, I get that, but the inflation itself, like, what's because the last 12 months it's just been up and up and up, longer, 18 months, something like that. It's been a while. It's just it keeps fucking going up, and like I don't understand why that is. And when someone goes, it's inflation, you go, okay, right. But what the fuck does that mean? Like, what does it mean? What is it actually supposed to be doing? Like, why is it that we're paying more interest now?
It's there's multiple different things in that. Basically, to start off with the first one, inflation, there's heaps of different ways to measure that as a figure.
Yeah.
And I'm nowhere near qualified enough to go into this in a whole lot of detail, so I'll kind of just skim across the top
right.
and give a layman's. But when you're looking at inflation, it comes from like they put together like a goods basket of different services and things that people are going to be accessing and would make up part of what most consumers are spending on.
Right.
And they'll look at the inflation as far as the cost of those goods in those basket over time and if they're increasing and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So as wages and things like that increase, inflation's always going to increase as well.
Yeah.
The thing that everyone's been feeling most of all has not so much been, the cost of living is definitely higher.
Yeah.
And like Sam said, we see people making sure they're being really, they're saving. They're not spending ludicrously and those sorts of things. They're living within their means and doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And part of what we do is to help people so that if they're in that position and we can free up a bit of extra cash for them, we'll do that.
Yeah.
But the mortgages is a different story because with the mortgages, what you've got is you've got people that have been on a fixed rate at maybe, say, 3%.
Yeah.
Which if you've got a mortgage of like 500, 600,000 and you've got an interest rate of 3%, and then you come off that fixed rate and go to what lenders and banks have as now as their headline rates, which, they're around 5 or 6%. So just use a round number and let's say 6%, doubled.
Yeah.
3 to 6. Yeah. And that's going to be on that larger amount on what the mortgage is. And that's why, like you're talking about, you're seeing people whose payments have massively increased.
Yeah.
And that's putting pressure on people in a different way.
Yeah.
Because then you've got people that have a mortgage and then because you have to allow for so much extra money to come out for the repayment, there's things you need to be a bit more tighter on and spend less money on and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's pretty complicated. There's a lot of different things that go into it. But like what Sam said, we're seeing lenders trying to help people. Yeah. It's definitely not all doom and gloom. They're trying to make sure when we're assessing applications and those sorts of things that they're being considerate of those circumstances. They're trying to make sure with consolidations and things like that as well that if we can see that we're going to take these debts out of the equation and create more capacity, then they go, cool. Even though right now it's a bit tighter, we can see what that's going to allow someone to do. So we're happy to help in that instance as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And in and amongst all of the inflation and the rates and the RBA and all that kind of stuff, we've still had some lenders actually hold their rates or even some of them have reduced them over the last 12 months as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different factors that go into it.
It's the constant rise is what throws me. It's like it just keeps going. Like, I mean, for an example, like as a generic thing that you hear on the news, it's like, oh yeah, the interest rates have gone up again, and I can't get my head around why.
The news is the worst. It's just always really negative. And I'm sure if you look on social media, if you look anywhere, as soon as there's something to do with interest rates, I know even when we were looking at the RBA coming up to make their decision recently, toss a coin, 50-50 chance of what you're going to see someone put out in the media, whether they're going to be like, oh, they're cutting rates, or oh no, they're going to raise rates, or no, they're going to sit on rates.
But do you know why it is that they do it, or why they go up or down?
I'm not qualified enough to. I don't know.
It blows my mind because isn't the whole thing? It's supposed to like stabilize, the market or whatever. And
broad idea of raising interest rates is it causes people to have to put more cash aside so that they can make their payments on their mortgage, which in theory then means that they're not going to spend as freely on discretionary spending and those sorts of things. So and then that helps to lower. That's the really broad, as I said, nowhere near qualified to be giving any kind of real specific information. But if someone was at a barbecue and trying to really vaguely understand it, that's how I would look at it.
That's my drama. I've had too many barbecue conversations. That's
We get that. People that will have been at a barbecue and talking to someone and hear about something, and then it's part of our team's responsibility to educate them and help them understand, because everyone's situation is a bit different. And
for sure,
someone might say, I went out and I tried to get a loan and I qualified at this rate, and then someone will come into us and go, oh, but that's what I want, and we'll go, we will do the best we can to get you that, but you've got to understand everyone's circumstance is different. Yeah. And that's where the education really comes into it, so they can understand the different things that you look at when you're assessing. Banks only use rate as a way to measure risk, basically. Yeah. If you've got good, strong employment, good credit history, they've got no other reason than to give you a great rate.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. But when you think about it, it's almost like this person's a higher risk there's more of a chance that they'll fail, so we'll charge them more money.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know, but, and I get it, because you guys have got so many different lenders, I don't know, I'm gonna say this wrong, I'll probably fuck it up, but like you kind of like farm it out. Like if you get an application, it's like there's, I guess, some generic lines or generic sort of boxes that some might fit into, and you're like, okay, well, that type of application is going to suit these kind of lenders, or that type of application is going to suit, you know, going directly to the bank or whatever, because it's going to be the lowest rate or whatever the case may be. But when someone comes in, do you ever get any kind of, you know, random sort of curveballs where you like, you don't see it every day? Someone comes in, they're trying to finance, I don't know, what would be completely inappropriate to finance? So I don't know. What are you looking at me like for?
Cosmetics.
Sure, we'll go with
we've
cosmetics.
had some cosmetic surgery. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like boob jobs and whatever. People finance that. But that'd just be going down to like a personal loan stuff, wouldn't it?
Essentially.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, yeah, we see like different stuff every day. The team in there, our onboarding and training process is pretty strenuous. So they've got all these different lenders flying around in their head all day, every day.
Yeah.
So when they see different scenarios, they'll go, oh, yeah, it's probably going to one of these 5.
Yeah.
We go get all their rates, repayments, go to customer, look, these are the ones that come back the best. The customer chooses, we don't choose.
Yeah.
We go, these are the ones that, you know, going to give you the best deal. Which one do you think? So some might have a small early payout fee, but the rate's lower, vice versa. So we'll give them, you know, the positives and negatives with all of them. They'll pick it and we go, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
And we'll get it done.
Is there any kind of, I think I know the answer to this. You're going to go back to sort of credit file stuff, I guess, but like you see stories where people will be paying like, I don't know, $1,000 a week in rent, but then they'll go to get a loan for something and the repayments might only be, I don't know, $750, but they can't get approved or whatever it is for the loan. And obviously then it's not about having the cash flow to do it. It's like they just, for whatever reason, they don't tick the other boxes, or is it like, you know, because if you've got that history of paying, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I think they were paying like $1,200 a week in rent or something like that, and they were like, you know, we've had enough of this shit and go and buy a block of dirt. But a block of dirt's different too, isn't it? That finance is different than a house.
Yeah, and we have a mortgage team that specialises in that. I'm not in the mortgage team, but
just different assessment process and criteria for that compared to the asset team.
Yeah.
It's mainly the capacity, like how much money they have left at the end of the day. Yeah. Like Roudy was saying, the lenders are actually trying to help people now. They're trying to put things aside and discount one-off expenses and stuff like that. So it does come down to they have like responsible lending guidelines as well. So you've got to have a certain buffer at the end of the month after this new proposed repayment for them to be able to lend you money. So cost of rent going up can affect that, unfortunately. But
when you sort of talk about, sorry, Sam, when you talk about the various different types of customers, and when we're training new team members, we always say like no two customers are going to be the same. Their scenarios, everyone's different. There's always going to be interesting and unique things that happen. It's just, it is what it is. But where the team do really well is that if you go to and a lot of people are in the mindset, you know, I've had my home loan with Westpac for 10 years. It's easier. I do my banking with them. I'm going to go through Westpac to get my car loan. The problem with going to a bank or a lender like that, and people are seeing this more and more now as brokers do more of the finance for customers than banks are.
Right.
It's actually tipping now that brokers take care of more finance than the banks are. Your mainstream brokers. Mainstream banks, sorry.
Yeah.
But when you go to a bank, you got to think of it, they've really got sort of one, maybe two products that they can assess a customer for. And they're normally really black and white. Is how we explain it to someone. You either fit or you don't.
Right.
You can have 90% of what they want. So say they want someone that's 3 years in their job, 3 years in their residence, got a mortgage, got a 900 credit score. You could have all of that, but have an 899 credit score. And because you don't fit their criteria, they'll say, sorry, can't do it. Not approved.
Just like a generic computer-based analysis, no human touch.
They won't tell you why. and this is what we see, because every time you make an inquiry, it lists on your credit file and it lowers your credit score. So
Yeah,
we,
right.
Yeah. So we frequently see people, and this is part of the education again, where all they've done is done what they think is right, which is from the beginning of your life, you're taught to shop around to find the best deal, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to go buy a pair of jeans, mum or dad goes, make sure you go and look at all the options. Don't just buy the first one that you go and talk to and that you see. So customers...
I never got that advice.
Oh, I
don't
got
even
that
have a
from
pair
my
of
parents. But customers will do that, and then the banks will go, oh, it doesn't fit our criteria. Sorry, can't help. And it'll say something like that due to doesn't match lending criteria. And they'll go, oh, I need to just go and try somewhere else then. Bang, 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 bang. And then by the time we see them, their credit scores dropped a couple of 100 points, which changes all the lenders that they qualify for, changes the interest rates, changes the maximum amounts that they can borrow, all those sorts of things, just because they've been looking around trying to find someone that can help them.
And all because each inquiry is knocking down points.
If you go online and you go, let me see what I qualify for, and you put your details in and those sorts of things, yeah, every chance that that's making an inquiry and it will list on the credit file. So we educate people to be very cautious of that, putting in your details and doing any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So where the team fit in is that when someone comes to us and we talk to them and we understand their situation and pull everything apart, what they're trying to do, we've obviously got the 50 plus lenders that we have on our panel, and they've got their own products and those sorts of things. But what we can do is we have relationships with them and with the BDMs and those sorts of things that allow us to actually explain the situation to them. So we
Right.
can go, yes, this person ticks, 4 out of 5 of your boxes, but although they don't have that credit score, we can show strength in this previous loan that they were able to repay with perfect conduct. Can we make sure we can now qualify the customer for that? And they'll go, makes sense, let's do it. So we get a little grey area that we can operate in.
And I guess for you guys, it would be one inquiry on their credit file versus,
Yeah, we don't actually affect the customer's credit file.
Right.
For us to have a look at everything, we do a soft touch, which lets us see a full version of the credit file. It's the Equifax file is the main file that lenders will use, and it's the reporting body that lenders are going to look at.
Yeah.
And on that, it shows your credit score, it shows any inquiries you've made, and it shows any active facilities that you've got, and it'll show you if there's any loans being paid on time or in arrears.
What's an active facility?
Just like a loan. If you've got a loan at the moment, you've got a mortgage, you've got a car loan, something like that, it'll show you on there that you've got that.
Yeah.
As part of our service, we provide that as well, so that everyone gets a copy of their credit file and we can talk them through and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But that doesn't put an inquiry on the credit file. What happens is once we assess and we go out of the 50 options, this is the best ones that we can find.
Yeah.
Because like Sam said, we don't say this is what you need to go with.
Yeah.
We just say these are the 3 best we've been able to find. This one is lower than the repayment budget you were looking at, but the interest rate's a bit higher because they've got more fees. This one has no penalty for early payout and they're just over your budget. And this one over here has got a repayment that's within your budget. It's got the best rate. It's got no early payout. So, up to you as to which one you want to go with. Their process maybe takes a bit longer, but we would hand that across to say, pick the option that's going to suit you best.
Yeah.
Once someone says, yep, let's do that one, that's when we submit it through to the lender, and the lender will put the inquiry on the credit file. But as you said, that's one inquiry, and one inquiry is only going to have a very minimal impact on your credit file. What hurts it is what's called shopping, which is where you do what we just talked about. You inquire everywhere to try and find what you can get.
And so, this obviously there's so many different things that go into this. But if you've got someone who is like a $100,000 a year job, been there for 3 years, no other debt, and a 900. If they go and they shop around at say 5 different places, is there a certain amount of points that it comes down per inquiry, or does it depend on who the inquiry is from, or
it's an algorithm. You can't predict the amount of points that it will drop by because it's based on how old the credit file is, how frequently you've previously applied for credit, and all those sorts of things.
Right.
But I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, but if someone made 3 or 4 inquiries, it probably would drop the file by a couple of 100 points.
A couple of 100.
Yeah.
What does that look like in the difference of an interest rate?
A good amount. If you go under a certain, say if you go from 600 to 400, it's a few percent, maybe like 5%, depending on the rest of their profile.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's a big difference.
literally just through like them checking out some shit on a weekend, it could cost somebody like a decent percent difference in what a repayment's going to be when they actually get a loan.
They don't teach you this in school.
Fuck no, that's nuts. Did you know that?
I have heard, yeah. But isn't that more with personal loans? But with
Like unsecured shit.
Yeah, but with home loans, it doesn't actually affect your credit score.
If there's an inquiry on the credit file, it'll affect it regardless of whether it's for a home loan
it didn't
or...
affect it as much with a home loan checking as it does compared to...
You're talking about basically a secured loan versus...
I'm talking about
free
you're
cash.
borrowing $5,000 to buy a jet ski and you're shopping around different lenders as
Yeah.
opposed to buying a house.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's like your cash converters inquiries. If you go, what, 5 of them
cashies.
out, you go
Yeah,
do
right.
5 of them. It's
that'd
going to
hit
affect it
you
more
hard.
than
But
like
if
a,
you're looking
Yeah.
at 5 different major banks for borrow $1 million to buy a house kind of thing, it
Yeah.
won't affect you as much.
It wouldn't be as much, but it still would make an impact. Like if you went around on the weekend and put an inquiry through to NAB, ANZ, Westpac,
Yeah.
and you actually put forward a formal inquiry and they hit the credit file,
Yeah.
it would still impact it.
And what-
It's because it's an algorithm that goes based off of what the size of credit you're looking to borrow is and how long the credit file's been established and those sorts of things as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
the frequency of your inquiries as well.
Yeah. What does it come when it comes to something like a house that's big dollars? That all goes back to the main banks, though. Yeah, like the because you got whoever's funding it, then you got like additional lenders who'll because it's like insurance, isn't it? It's like you got a main insurer, but then you've got people that sell their insurance, but it's backed by the main insurance.
Yeah,
or?
so you've got lenders that have all got kind of like white label funding that comes through from the bigger banks is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's still some independent lenders in the home space as well that operate
Really?
independently, yeah, particularly for self-employed and those sorts of things
Yeah.
because it's really nichey.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, they've got and we won't talk too much about it because we're not we're not as qualified on it.
No.
But the home loans team that we have as well, same process they go through. They've got a panel of a similar amount of lenders actually, and they do the same thing. So it's
Yeah.
all the same criteria, match it with the lender to find which one's going to work best. They're heavily bound by compliance. They have to make sure they put together a certain amount of options, explaining all of the fees, all those sorts of things, full transparency
Yeah.
before submitting to a lender or doing anything like that.
And what about like credit cards and stuff like that? Because I haven't had a credit card since I was fucking 18. learned that lesson real fucking quick. But because it's something like when you've got, I don't know, what's an average credit card? $1,000, $5,000, something like that. Whatever.
Again, yeah.
When you've got that, even if you've paid it down and it's at zero, that's still. You were talking about before on what were you calling them? Where you've got things that are active.
Oh
Open
yeah, the
facilities.
positive reporting and the open facilities on the file.
Open facilities, yeah. So if you've got a $5,000 credit card sitting there that you've got access to, but it's at zero, that can still affect your ability to borrow because you could go and fill that tomorrow, couldn't
Yeah.
you?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So lenders will normally apply like a buffer. They'll use maybe like 4% of what the limit of that card is, and they'll apportion that as a commitment when you're looking at capacity. Is how they'll look at that.
And can you get rid of that? Like, or is that once that approval for that amount of money with that particular credit card company even if you cut the card up, close the account, that's still an approval sitting there that you could go and access tomorrow. So does that stick around or?
Only if you've accepted it.
Yeah.
If it's just an inquiry, no, they're not going to do it. But
I mean like the line of credit. Like you've had a credit card, you pay it down and go, I don't want this thing anymore. Cut up the card, close the account. But because that approval for that amount, does that sit there like you were talking about as an open facility, even though
It'll be on the file, but it will actually show that it's been paid well and closed off.
Right. Okay.
Where people can fall into traps with this, and we've seen it all the time, is they'll have something like an old Latitude store card, for instance, with like a $10,000 limit.
Yeah.
And they'll pay it back to Latitude or Harvey Norman, whoever they've done it through, 10 years ago, and go, yep, that's done. I'm sorted now. And then they just they don't do anything with it, which is fine because it's been zeroed. But what happens is when we go to assess it and we look at capacity, we go, oh, there's this $10,000 card that's still active. And quite often you'll talk to someone and go, there's a facility on here, there's a credit card, it looks like it's with Latitude, and people go, no, I don't have a Latitude card. And then they'll go, oh, actually, I did years ago and then I closed it off. And you go, well, did you actually close it off?
Yeah, or
Or did you pay it out and then
Yeah.
just snip it with a pair of scissors? If you don't actually formally close it, it'll still sit on there. It won't do anything bad, but it'll be on there as something that we need to consider.
It'll affect capacity or potential capacity.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Shit, then maybe that's more what it was.
You can always lower the limit as well. Like a
Yeah.
good thing about having good relationships with the lenders is they might come back to us and go, if you lowered it from 10 to 5 grand, we're good. And if the customer's got $0 owing on it anyway, they're like, oh, I can do that. Log into my app and do that.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
So
And is that the same kind of thing with all these, what are they called now? It used to be called Easy Pay, like Zip Pay and
Afterpay.
whatever, Afterpay and all that,
Buy
all
now,
that stuff.
pay later. is what
Yeah,
they're called,
all that stuff. Is that obviously sits on the credit file as well?
No, and that's one of the things that's a bit of a negative. Like you say, people don't use credit cards these days, and I'm by no means advocating people to use credit cards. But there is actually an advantage if you do that the right way, which is that it reports on your credit file, which means if you're paying it well, it actually helps your credit score increase.
We're talking about credit cards.
Credit cards,
Right.
Afterpay, Zip Pay, those sorts of things, they don't report on your credit card. So whether you pay them well or not doesn't have any effect on your credit score. But if you don't pay them well, you can still end up being, you can go into default with them and they can issue you with a default and all that kind of stuff as well.
Right.
But you don't have any of the benefits of it actually being on the credit file and helping your score go up,
Yeah, right.
which a lot of people don't realise. Because we actually get people say they take out lots of loans and we ask them, is there any particular reason why you got these loans, access these funds? And they'll go, I just wanted to improve my credit score.
Yeah.
And we have to have the conversation to say it's not actually on your file. It's not helping your
Right.
credit score at all.
like your cash converters and stuff like that, they won't list on there. But if you don't pay them, they will slap you with a default on there.
Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah.
what.
Fucking cashies. I haven't thought about cashies in so long. Good grief.
I mean, that's
Actually-
why people come to us, because it's not common knowledge, these things, and we see it every day. So
Yeah.
we know these things. I guess that's the advantage of using us.
Yeah.
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 No, that makes sense. I think last time I went to Cashies, I think we bought the
golf
golf
club.
clubs. Yes.
The $5 driver. For
Yeah, the
driving range.
Woodhead driver. We
Good deal.
I don't even. Oh, we were kicking around one afternoon, and this is a long time ago.
Oh, I think this was when we were probably 20.
Yeah,
We used to go
yeah.
down and hit the golf balls at the driving range.
At the Albany Creek.
Yeah, we're Eaton Hill Tavern is now.
Yeah, yeah. Next to that. Yeah, and we're kicking around and we're just trying to work out what to do one day.
The driver, because
Yeah.
you can get the irons for free.
But you had to hire the driver.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
had to hire the driver. Screw this. So I just went to Cashies and bought a $5 one.
yeah. Belted the living piss out of the balls for I don't know an hour or two, and then I think it was you had one last swing at it, and the fucking head just took off.
I mean,
It's a good $5.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Totally
That's
worth
right.
it.
Worth it.
Totally worth it. What about like finance and stuff, like all this new EV stuff? Is that a thing? Is that kind of people getting into that and financing cars that are going to sit there and burn?
Yeah, well, lenders actually, they love that. They actually do
Yeah.
discounts for EV cars.
Yeah, right.
May only be 0.5% or 1%, but
Yeah.
they do actually discounts if it's like a new Tesla or a new, what are the BYD, Build Your Dream things.
Is that what that stands for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's written on it. I saw that the other day too. I'd seen the
Build your
BYD and
dreams.
it says it on the back of a
They're
couple of them.
good-looking
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
good-looking cars.
And, but yeah, they get more popular,
Yeah.
and lenders, they do help you out with that stuff too.
Well, isn't the government doing lots of incentives too for people to buy into that space?
Mm.
A lot of large companies, by having obviously Target Zero and lots of stuff, the incentives behind lots of stuff is pretty big for businesses nowadays. So I'm gathering it's probably the same as finance.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of different concessions and things that are available when cars are qualifying as
Yeah.
technically being green and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, look, there's a couple of good looking ones out there. Kim had a look at one the other day that I can't remember what it's called. It was like Capture or Capula or something like that.
Not Captiva.
No, no, it's Google EV,
You keep talking.
and it's like cap something, and it was I'm pretty sure it was cap something. I probably fucked it up, but it was a cool little bit of kit, and it had like some funky colored leathers on the inside, like the dark tan, and like all the gear. And it was like they put some thought into it. and we thought it had a really nice factory, a really nice note to it. But it was a setting on the inside of the car. It was coming through the fucking speaker.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking wankers. I was like, I feel like such a tosser.
That's standard.
Oh my
Sounds like
God.
a V8. It's not.
Electric that sounds like a V8.
Yeah. See those Hellcats
I-
that have that? The
That's
concept?
criminal. That's
A
criminal.
Hellcat's got what?
There was some concept last year that was like some form of Hellcat and it had the speakers in the exhaust, but it was electric.
Oh God, I don't know.
Might have just been one of
I-
those things you see on Instagram. But
Oh,
I might have missed that. I live under a fucking rock. The Ford, the F truck, they had that electric thing. I don't know if that was full electric or hybrid or whatever, but
the lightning, yeah.
yeah.
those Hummers too, they're electric.
There's an electric Hummer.
Mm.
Yeah, right.
Four-wheel drive. They're a ute.
Yeah, we've had a few different conversations about that, about the electric stuff on here for, I think Jamie Hazelden, he was down and he rocked up he was in a Tesla, I think. Loves it for day-to-day stuff running around and that, but he's like, yeah, same thing. Everybody, anybody that we've spoken to that does touring is like, yeah, they're no good for touring.
Dan's got one.
What's he running around in?
Tesla.
A Tesla, yeah.
Loves it.
Yeah, it doesn't miss a chance to use ludicrous mode in that thing.
They
Yeah.
are quick.
Yeah, I've heard that. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one going for a run.
So there's a photo that's taken at Lakeside because there's the 8th Mile drags and we all like to go there and watch, but sometimes we've gone there and participated a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
And he took the Tesla and he won the True Street forced. They classified it as forced induction because it's electric.
Right.
But because he tows a caravan, it's got this big tow on the back of it.
Yeah.
And in the photo, it's blitzing this thing and it's crossing the finish line, and then you can just see the tow bar at the back of it.
Fucking hell.
It does go though. I know that with those electric Fords that Ford have had a lot of problems actually trying to get them off the lot as quick as they've been making them, and they've got a whole lot of built up stock and they're trying to get rid of it at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, because the word, and I could be getting into controversial grounds here, so I'll stay quick here. But the word is that looking at, synthetic fuels using things like hydrogen is
Yep.
looking like it's going to be what's more sustainable moving forward rather than just solely electric. Hybrid probably. But I know the big European manufacturers like Mercedes and those sorts of things have started investing more money into that.
Yeah, I know. We were having a conversation with somebody a while ago about the BP over here spending a shit ton of money on it, and it's like, okay, I'm no scientist and don't know too much about any of this stuff on any kind of great level, but my understanding of hydrogen is it's might be a bit of a pain in the ass to carry, but it's no real different to like gas for your car, and the end result's water vapor out the back, and you don't have warehouses in China full of fucking batteries and whatever else that they got no idea what to do with.
Yeah, because I think Toyota were some of the first to start doing it with their the GR Corolla when they were doing their hydrogen-based version of that, and they took the regular internal combustion engine they had in the GR Corolla and they just fitted it with a few different things and modified the engine to support using hydrogen.
Yeah.
But like it's not like totally replacing the power plant and putting something in there that's totally foreign. It's just
Yeah.
working with what you've got.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, there was one we had. I can't remember who we were talking to when we brought it up. Might have been Gleno. There's a guy over in the States that's got an old pickup. I think it's a Chev or a Ford, like mid-50s one, and he's done a hydrogen setup in the back of that. And it looks like like an 80-litre gas tank.
Yeah, it's impressive.
The red one?
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
It's a roaring V8. Sounds fucking awesome. And yeah, they've done that. They were still doing testing and stuff. I think it's a couple of years old now, but it's like that's it. Water vapor.
Yeah.
No dramas.
Yep. No dramas.
It blows my mind that we've gone so far away from technology that was being played with so long ago that now we're dealing with all this electric stuff, and it's like, batteries and solar panels and whatever else there. Hydrogen peroxide. And fail.
I would not want to be carrying that.
No. Yeah, hydrogen chef truck. There you go. That'll probably be it. It'll be on YouTube and it's red. Yes. Oh, this thing is just dead sexy.
So this is it?
Yeah.
I think it was an LS.
I'll fire it up.
Yeah, I think it's an LS, hydrogen powered muscle car.
This is another way to, in my mind, to save hot rodding. So you want that exhaust sound, everything else. This sounds exactly.
There you go, going
like
on. Get rid of that shit. There we go.
Gasoline.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's
Hi, my name's Mike Copeland. I'm the
just
CEO at
jump forward like.
Today we brought down our
There you go.
1948 Chevrolet pickup powered by a supercharged 6.2 liter
There you go.
LS engine,
Yeah.
and it runs on hydrogen. So this
That's
tank
nuts.
says it all,
That is nuts.
Zero emission.
You keep your
All the
Tesla.
output from the
Does he
taillights on
does he
this
talk about what he had to
is
do to
little
get it to
bit
run
of
on
water.
hydrogen?
Once
Yeah, a
the
little
engine
bit. I
comes
think
to
it's
temperature,
movie
there's
mouse
not
of it, so I
even
can see it,
any
Shawnee.
water.
I think it's a
About as steam as
30-minute.
it
Oh,
is.
that's only a 3-minute
No,
one.
I
It's
just
a
did the
program
short.
that we've been working on for about 2 years now. I partnered with Bosch Engineering Group and I hired their engineers to come in and help us do this. But we've made great progress. We debuted it at SEMA last year. It's a running, driving vehicle. We can take it pretty much anywhere we want to go. Right now we're a little limited on capacity in the tank, but the next
There
2
you go.
weeks we'll solve all that.
That's what,
We
60
are
litres? I don't
over
know.
400 horsepower on the tires right now, and that's an injector limited. Because the only injectors, every part in it from a hydrogen perspective is experimental. And because the injectors were never intended for a supercharged V8, they made them really small. And we run 16 of them to get enough hydrogen to make the power levels. We're clicking it off at 5,000 RPM, and we're still, like I say, running. We're at the edge of the pressure threshold. Now we can turn the pressure up with a different regulator and get more fuel, but we have actual injectors being made, and as soon as they're available, we'll put those
Yeah.
in.
Oh,
and,
man, that's
and
epic.
then
I love
Isn't that
one of
we'll
nuts?
be able to turn it up.
Like,
That
hey,
makes me
I
so
love
happy.
one of them
though.
over
Ah.
a Tesla.
mate, I wouldn't care if that was a coal snorting bloody whatever juggernaut. It can have whatever emissions it like. I don't care. It's cool as hell that it's hydrogen, but that's just a sick looking truck. You
Oh,
know?
it just gives me faith in the future.
But you know, it's like you go down these rabbit holes and you hear these stories like, you know, forever and a day about something like that being worked on, I don't know, what, in the 50s or something, and someone puts it in the newspaper and all of a sudden they've gone missing. You know? Or
Conspiracy theories?
Yeah, or Ford's bought the patent on something and shelved it because they've got money in
Yeah,
fucking...
wasn't the famous one too? It was like someone who came up with the grass that didn't really grow, so whatever mowing company bought them out.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
because it'd kill the mowing industry, wouldn't you? Like, if your grass doesn't grow, who needs to buy a lawnmower?
Well, it's going to be shit for the cattle. Like, once it's gone, like, what if you burn it? What if you
Yeah,
tip
but
your...
they're not worried about mowing a field full of cattle. It's more everyday people that are
Yeah.
buying mowers for your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If everyone laid down grass, it took a year to grow it, like a couple of millimeters.
Yeah.
Mowers go out of business.
Poor
Yeah.
Jim's.
True. That makes sense.
Jim's mowing's gone.
Yeah. That motherfucker is loaded. I don't think he's worried about non-growing grass.
Is there anything that gyms can't franchise?
Yeah, I don't know. They've got there was some female product thing that I saw on, but it might have been a bit of a, you know, bullshit advertisement, but it was like, I don't know, Jim's bloody lingerie readjustments or something like that. It was like, yeah, I don't
So
know.
that's a gimmick.
Yeah, it might have been. I can't remember what it was, but it was, yeah, he's into bloody everything. But the up at Burpengary, there's a new estate up there where Dave, our detailer that comes and does all our pre-delivery cleans, there's a couple of houses up there that have got that fake grass out the front. You know, it's like, just looks good all the time.
Yeah.
Super green.
Yep.
You know, if it goes to shit, you replace it.
Yep.
But it
Don't have to
gets
water it.
super hot. In the
To
sun,
touch.
It gets super
That's
hot.
the drawback.
Ah, yeah,
We
right.
used to have that around our old pool.
Oh, yeah.
It just gets super hot though.
Yeah, right.
I feel like literally the grass is greener on the other side though, because I've got the turf out the front and I love it. It looks great, but then like it's rained the last couple of weeks and I finally went outside after sort of just ignoring it for ages and then looked at it and there's weeds everywhere.
Yeah.
They look terrible now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But then there's the other drama. If you got like pets and stuff like that, like that's just going to suck. Like, at least cleaning up dog shit and stuff in real grass, it's sort of, if there's a little bit left over, it's just as
Bit of
fucking
mulch.
compost.
Compost.
Fucking moisturizer. Compost, that's what I wanted. Fuck me.
Get there.
Get the gurney out with the artificial
Yeah,
stuff.
just bury it in there. So what else is going on in the finance land? You guys do Fox Finance deals with a bit of sponsorship or like charity stuff, don't you? You guys are involved in a heap of different stuff.
Yeah, there's a fair few different things over the years that we've been involved in across all three businesses in the group.
Yeah.
Probably trying to think of which ones specifically now. I can't even think of them.
Kaluan mufflers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Communities was another one that we were involved with and supporting, which was about at-risk youth as well.
Yeah.
The directors across all the businesses in our group are really passionate about finding a really good cause that we can commit to and we can help and we can support.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of what we do. I know that for one of the businesses in the group, Yumi Loans, we had something going there for a while where every time a loan settled, X amount went to buying a brick to go towards building houses and things like that over in underprivileged areas of like South Africa and the Philippines and things like that as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
pretty varied.
Sean's go-kart team's a good cause. He needs all the fucking support he can get.
Yeah, I haven't actually brought that up this episode.
No, you haven't. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks for
Fucked it.
bringing it up.
Yeah. I had someone come down to get a quote on some Raptor work the other day who was talking about doing it in purple. And I was like, oh, fuck, Sean, I love that.
Yeah. That my go-kart team would always do with the funding.
You see that face? How do you say no to that?
You can't.
We can't
No,
teach you how to
cannot.
drive, but
We've been stitched up.
Absolutely. So what else is happening? You guys got anything cool coming up?
we recently had an awards night for our aggregator that we did pretty well at.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough in Queensland to take out best regional brokerage, best brokerage with under 10 brokers in it, which is good.
Yeah.
And then I had the individual one for best regional broker in Queensland,
Okay.
which was cool. So that was exciting. That was really cool for the boys. We got fancy little email signatures now, the medals on it.
No, yeah.
Soon
Yeah.
to be on the website.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always cool stuff going on. The team are killing it. It's great.
You guys are a lot more sort of client focused as far as
There's the
your
boys.
team
Oh,
there.
they are?
There you go.
Yeah, when you talk about what's the cool stuff that's on the go, it's these boys. A big part of what we do is, that's unfortunate, there's me, is help and support and train and give these guys the skills they need so that they can help people do what they're trying to do, basically.
Yeah.
And like Sam said, they're constantly learning, they're constantly growing, and every time they do that, they're getting a bit better at what they do, and hearing the scenarios that they're able to help with now and those sorts of things is just awesome.
Yeah, but
It's very
yeah,
cool.
and with the what I was getting at before with the client focused, it's like I know, so if someone's ringing up and they've dealt with like yourself before or whatever it is, it's like you kind of go back to that person each time and you develop that kind of ongoing relationship. I know, like Kim with her like car and whatever else that she's done. It's every now and then I'll hear this. Oh, I spoke to Sam today, and it's like just you keep. Obviously, you build that relationship and rapport and that understanding as to what the person needs and all that.
If for example, Brad is an example, if he's put in the hard yards and then his customers referred another person in, he's done the hard work. That person's had a good experience with Brad.
Yeah.
We want the next person to have the same experience. So
Yeah.
same with the boys have dealerships that they deal with, referrers that send to us. They'll only ever deal with that one person.
Yeah.
It just works. Like
Yeah.
the rapport's a lot better when you deal with one person.
Yeah.
Everyone's great though.
And we're looking at like the lifetime value we can add. We don't want it to be transactional where someone comes to us for a car loan and we help them and then they drive off into the sunset and that's it.
Yeah.
A huge part of our business is repeat.
Yep.
Repeat customers coming back and going, hey, did the car last time, now we want to go on a holiday over to Europe. Can you help
Yeah.
us get a personal loan so we can do that?
Yep.
Or, hey, been saving up the funds now and I think I want to try and see if I can get myself into a home. So then we can refer them across over to our home loans team for them to help out.
Mm.
And if you think about it throughout someone's life, especially now with the way that people live, there's just so many times where finance can help.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
everything's so bloody expensive.
Yeah.
You know, who's got, 50 grand floating around for a boat?
Impatient to save as well.
But
Want it now.
there's always something that comes up. Like, I find anytime I sit there, it's like, I mean, half my drama is because, this place is also, like, it's my business, but it's also my hobby.
Yeah.
So there's the business part of me that goes, we really need that new tool. And then there's a hobbyist part of me that goes, I really want that new tool. And so there's always, always sort of reinvesting back into it. But, having that sort of free cash floating around, it's just, I mean, like during COVID, like, fuck, we've flat out. And it's busy now, but I'm busy in kind of different ways with filming this and filming the build series and, everything else that we sort of got going on. It's not quite so workshop open to close on the tools, kind of like it was, but it's still busy enough that you're kicking along. But the liquid cash doesn't seem to be there as much anymore.
Yeah, you've adapted, which is good. Had to chop and change, which we see a lot. A lot of people have had to change careers. Businesses have had to change direction with things, but make it work.
Yeah, my biggest drama is I need like 5 of me. Well, no, nobody needs 5 of me. One of me is fucking plenty, but 5 guys that know what they're doing would be really handy.
The good thing is if you've got someone where we've built that relationship and they've come back multiple times, is we understand their situation or their scenario, or from like a commercial perspective, if you've got a business and you've got a complicated structure of company under a trust and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Once we understand that, for any financing needs moving forward in the future, it's so easy because we really know how it's all structured. We know how to get the income and put it into the application and where it all comes from and all that kind of stuff, which means that it's whether you want to go do a home loan, whether you want to get a car loan, an unsecured loan, whatever the need is, because we understand your situation and everything, it's just so much easier moving forward.
I would think someone could come to you as well with like kind of like we do with the builds for people, because not everybody can do everything they want to do right now. But what we'll do is we'll get the end result, and then we'll sort of reverse engineer that back to what we can do now, what's next 6 months, whatever. And someone can come to you then and do the same. Go, look, the goal is this. This is where I'm at. Like, how do we get from there to there? And whether it's getting like consolidations or getting rid of credit cards or Harvey Norman buddy couch things, and but spending that time with you guys and really laying out that roadmap to get where they want to go.
Yep.
Because mine's the same. Like 90% of what I do here is repeat and referral. It's really, I mean, look, okay, there's a little bit more now, that we're starting to get out into the public eye a bit more. But for the most part, everything I do is really repeat and referral. So it's either someone's coming back because they've had stuff done before, or they know someone, and it's 90% of it is like that. So building that relationship over time, especially with those longer term jobs, like you might be doing a wheels and tires and suspension now, and then it might be all the bar work, and then it might be, interior stuff and rust repair and whatever, and you can build that relationship. The same thing with you guys.
We always sort of like to say we don't decline customers. It's not a no, it's just not right now. So if something's going on and you come to us and you want 50 grand unsecured for a build, unfortunately you've inquired at a few places and it knocked the credit score around, and now because of where the credit score is, you're looking at around 35k max.
Yeah.
We'll go, okay, so there's a couple of options that we can look at. If you really want to go for the full 50, all you need to make sure you do is, moving forward, don't make any more inquiries for finance. Can see you've got these loans, keep paying those ones well, and we can put a plan in place to help someone. Even if it's something where they've been missing payments or there's something in there a lender wouldn't like, part of our assessment process is to stop that from going to a lender and then being declined and then putting a hit on the credit file for no reason.
Right.
We pick it up before the inquiry and go, hey, this is likely to cause us some issues. So here's the plan for how we can get around it. So it might be a plan so that we can help them for the full amount, say in 3 to 6 months' time. And we'll touch base with them. And I've seen the team do that, where they'll set a task and reach out regularly. How you going? Are you on track with that? I know you needed to pay this one out. Make sure you keep sticking to it. Make sure you don't make more inquiries for finance, all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Or you might go, look, there's only capacity right now to be able to do 30,000. But what we can do is, if we do this loan for 30,000 right now, we can include 5 grand to consolidate something else you've got.
Yeah.
which then means in another 6 months' time, we can have a look again. And provided you've been able to stay in the same situation, what we can then do is we can refinance that and we can get a bit more on top, which will get you the next part that you want so you can finish the next part of the build.
Yeah, right.
So
That's
there's
cool.
lots of different ways to structure it to achieve. It's kind of like what you just said. You start, I want to get to here, and then how's the different ways I can do it? Well, I can do it in one big lump sum.
Yeah.
I can do it in bits and pieces. It just, however it's going to work best for someone is how we'll structure it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it's our team's job to make sure when we're looking at that we present those options. We don't just go, sorry, you're not qualifying for that. We go, cool, well, we know how to make it so you can qualify for that. Or we can work our way there by doing this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the go with like business stuff? Is that something that goes on your turnover, or that goes on the equipment that you've got, or it goes on like what is the difference with that? Because that's then not like you don't have a house and there's no kind of car, but then you don't really want a $200,000 personal loan.
Yeah, I guess it's like all this same stuff, the money that you make, and if you've got assets already, if you've had previous loans that you've paid well, it's all the same stuff, but in a different way, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Different products for businesses too. So you can do like a strict chattel mortgage, which is basically just like purchasing an asset like a car through the business in the name of the business for commercial use. You can do business cash flow lends, where they'll basically look to see what your business cash flow looks like, and then they'll lend that money unsecured to you.
Yeah.
You can do lease backs, where if you've got a vehicle that you own right now that's unencumbered, so got no finance owing on it, they'll do a valuation on it and lend you a percentage of its value, which you can then use to do what you want to do with as well. There's lenders that do invoice funding, which is where if you've got, say you're in... I hate to use the example, but building and construction, and you've got a huge amount of outstanding invoices, and the way they operate is they might get a really large lump sum at the end of a 6-month contract.
Yeah.
And at that point, they're going to be fine. But there's other little invoices throughout there that they're waiting on to be paid. You can actually then use those invoices to basically kind of like leverage against for finance. So you can say, I've got an invoice for 10 grand here. So then a lender that does invoice funding will then fund you the 10 grand. And when the invoice comes in, you pay the lender back. So there's lots of different ways you can structure business finance. But probably something that's worthwhile noting is if someone's got a company, so not so much a sole trader, but if you've got a company set up, PTY Ltd, as an individual, your expenses and your liabilities aren't associated with the company.
Right.
So where that finance can be useful is if you've got a company set up, you can do like low doc finance if you meet the qualifications for it, which means you don't need tax returns, you don't need those normal documents that spook a lot of people.
Right.
A lender will use an application that we put together, which details your turnover, assets and liabilities and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
They'll use your credit score to show that you've got a good standing in your credit history, and then your time in business as well, how long the ABN's been registered.
Yeah.
And they'll go, cool, because of that, we can see how this all matches up, how it works. We can see the structure. We don't need financials to verify your income, and we will lend you the money for whatever you're looking to do. Normally it's secured, so that'll be for a car or equipment or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But that's another way that you can look at that. So rather than factoring in all of your own personal loans and expenses and all those sorts of things and the house, you do it through the business. It's all on the business's assets, the business's income, all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, it still gets scary with, I mean, like big business, I guess is different, but like, you know, like little guys, little shops like me, it's like, I like not having bills. Rent and electricity.
Yeah.
You know, keep it simple. I still don't even run accounts. So anything from, MAXTRAX or a kit of Raptor or whatever, if we're ordering it, it's paid for there, and then it just keeps it simple.
Yeah.
Because it just, that would, even what you've said there is making my head go like, I just get nervous thinking about bills. What if you got a slow month or whatever? And, you know, but I mean, like I've geared this a bit differently. So it's like if we got a slow month, it's like I've got a build to work on for a shop build or whatever. So we're a little bit different, but still it's like, it's just all this bloody money. Yeah. But, you know, I can definitely see why it would be beneficial, like especially for like equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, bigger, like, you know, CNC stuff when you're starting to spend 20, 40, 80, whatever, 100 grand, you know, that's just not usually floating around in just, you know, cash.
No.
So what do you reckon, what's happening with all the banks and everything at the moment? The the major banks had a big shutdown where they had that whatever the issue was. It was all over the news. You couldn't get cash out of somewhere, and the Microsoft or whoever it was.
Oh, CrowdStrike.
Please don't sue me. Yeah, something happened, and I got a message going like, if you get to an ATM, get cash out, like something's gone wrong, and it was like, oh shit, here we go.
Someone just pressed the wrong button, didn't they?
I don't know, but it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, I think they pushed a button and updated something that wasn't supposed to be updated. That's all it took.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they're going to end up getting us to go, because all that talk's all cashless, is getting rid of physical cash and all that, and then it's like that happens. You're like, yeah, I think you just fucked your argument there, because it's like,
I don't know about going cashless, but I would say that lenders are very much on board with trying to make things as streamlined as they can, and they're using technology to do that. So like in the past, where you may have needed to go to like a justice of the peace to get your ID certified, which was quite standard back in the past with finance contracts, particularly in business. They now do all that electronically. You can take a photo on your phone of your face, and it has like an algorithm that figures out whether it matches your driver's license, and
that's nuts, eh?
full on. And they've got in the background to counteract all of that, they're making it easier for the customer, but they're making it harder for people that try and, do anything fraudulent by having all these extra verification steps, software that can tell if documents have been edited or modified. They can read the metadata and things like that in there as well.
Wow.
Heaps of stuff going on from their side to try and make it as safe as they can with technology.
Yeah, it's all, even the phone, the other day we were talking about this, if you take a screenshot now of something that's got words on it, just that photo, you can press and hold and it'll like highlight words like you do in a document.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
It's just all that stuff's, it's getting pretty crazy, all that technology coming in.
But like that helps a lot. Like when I first started, we were still printing out loan contracts, going through and putting ticks and things next to where people needed to sign, and then scanning that through, and then relying on them being able to print it and then sign it correctly on all the pages. And if they accidentally initialed somewhere, then we had to redo it all. Whereas now it's all digital. The lender sends you your contracts through to your phone. You read it on your phone. We talk you through it. You click to accept it, and then it's done.
Yeah, that's got to be heaps better.
All it means
Saves a lot of time.
Yeah, sometimes you turn things around same day. Like there's lenders that will, the same day they receive an application, they will approve it, provided that we do our job correctly and make it nice and easy for them to approve.
Yeah.
And then they'll fund it same day. So they'll pay the money through to the customer or to the seller or to whoever same day.
Friday Arvo. New boat.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's a bit dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, nah. I think I'll stick with the way I'm rolling for now, but it's cool to know that sort of stuff's out there, especially the business stuff, because there's definitely some expansion gear I'd love to be able to do, but I don't know. Everything that's happened so far is just kind of put $1 away, then you spend $1 and you got to earn the dollar again and buy more shit.
Yeah.
Got to pay to play these days.
What I'd encourage is when you're on the site before, is there's actually loan repayment calculators on there. So if anyone's ever just wants to even dabble and try and figure out what it might look like, you can go into the, if you go close the live agent for us, just click on the X, and scroll down.
Just keep popping back up.
Keep scrolling down, keep going. So there where it says borrowing power calculator, but don't click on it yet. If you scroll up a little bit. And then click on the arrow and go car loan repayment calculator, for instance. Calculate now.
So you need a drop down for boobs now.
Personal investment.
And then it's easy. You can just put in there the purchase price, put in there the interest rate, put in there the loan term, and you can see the difference that it makes. And where this is really powerful is a lot of people get quite hung up on things like interest rate, for instance. But the thing that makes the biggest difference normally to your repayment is actually the amount you borrow. So if there's extra fees and things included in there, so say you're borrowing an extra $1,000, because when you have fees in a loan, they're included in the loan. So if you borrow 20 grand and there's $1,000 of fees, you borrow 21,000 effectively.
Right.
That's got a far greater impact on your repayment than the rate does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that interest rate area, does that sort of pre-populate with whatever's kind of going at the time, or?
I think it's just defaulted at the moment to go to that. It's not specifically because it's a headline rate.
Yeah. And what's the residual? What's that for? Oh, is that for like cars when you only got them for 5 years and there's X amount left, like a balloon?
Yeah, for a balloon.
Yeah.
Which can work well depending on your business, because if you've got something where you upgrade your car every 3 or so years, you have the residual. So if you borrow 40,000 and there's 10,000 as a residual rather than paying repayments based and interest off of the full 40.
Yeah.
You only pay the interest on the 30,000 because the balloon's left separate, and then you pay the balloon as a lump sum at the end.
So is that based on what, like roughly what you think it's going to be worth in 3 years or whatever, and you just put down?
All lenders will look at it different based on the age of the car. Normally they've got to be pretty new, maybe 1 to 3 years old max, typically, to qualify for a balloon, because a lender's got to make sure that at the end of the loan term, say a 5-year loan term, that the vehicle would be worth enough to cover whatever the remaining amount is in the balloon as well.
That makes sense.
But with this calculator, you can go on there and you'll be able to see the difference it makes when you're changing loan term versus changing interest rate and those sorts of things. And then the biggest thing we encourage people to do is it's not going to cost or commit you to anything, and we're not going to impact your credit score. So even if you just want to know what options look like, just give us a ring.
That's cool.
Put forward an inquiry. You'll get to talk to one of our team, and they'll be more than happy to explain to you exactly what's out there. No fluff, only facts, and nothing misleading, which we know a lot of customers talk to us about. They get people that don't disclose all the fees and all those sorts of things. Like, it's very important for us to be fully transparent.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So just as like in a way to get information, even speaking to us, so we can let you know, so you don't impact your credit score and those sorts of things. That's something we like to do as well.
No, that makes sense. So, yeah, all right. Well, I like it. I think that's cool. Fox Finance Group. Cars, homes, business, boobs.
Everything finance is what we go underneath. You can fill in the blanks. That's all good.
I love it. So, and because we got you guys on, if you hit to go wildsidegarage.com, God, I went to full radio voice then. Not wild. wideassgarage.com. Go on and secure that just in case.
Oh, it doesn't even come up early.
Just hit enter. It'll tell you. There you go. And then you scroll down a bit. And God, the internet down here is so shit. Off the side. Yeah, keep going. There you go.
There we are.
You hit that. Anywhere on there, it'll take you to it. And that goes to the Fox Finance Wildside landing page.
That's us.
So that's anybody that's going to go through doing any kind of finance on vehicles or whatever, really. Because, I mean, I guess from that point there, they can, if they're wanting to do anything, it doesn't matter what it is, you guys can just help them out.
Yeah, that's the idea. Even if it's just to let you know what it looks like, what repayments might look like, what options are out there, or if we need to put a plan in place, what that looks like.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think it's great because, I mean, as I said, like, I've known Dan for a lot of years, so anytime I've had questions about anything in the past, just basically get on the phone and have a chat and go, look, I'm thinking about this, like, will this work? You know, all that sort of stuff. And he's been really good. So I'm glad that he's, got all you guys around him. And I know we've put, several people through. And it's like, I think there's been times where people have clicked on that and gone through it and said nothing to do with me. They've just used that link to get to you guys direct, and they've gone and done their own thing. But it's like, at the end of the day, I have always had really good experiences with everybody up there. It's always been, good feedback from anybody that I've recommended to go and chat to you. So
that's good to hear.
Yeah,
it's easy as well. Like, it's 5-10 minutes on the phone for us to sort of get a gauge of what you want to do. Like Roudy just said, the whole pre-approval doesn't cost or commit you to anything. You're no worse off. There's no impact on your credit file for us to tell you if we can do it and what it looks like. So
I think that's cool.
If you if you search Fox Finance Group on Google, you'll be able to see all the reviews we've got as well. That's one of the other big things that we really pride ourselves on, is our Google reviews.
Yeah.
Because in finance, obviously, it's the sort of thing where people can get pretty passionate. I've financed many things, and even though I work in the industry and I know the process from start to finish, I still get real like, come on, I want to know where it's at. Give me an update. Where are we? So us being able to have customers that leave those really awesome reviews, and we're talking about people that have been able to finance like a second car, so that they don't have to share a car between husband and wife, and one of them can take the kids to school while the other one goes to work, rather than having to catch a train or a bus or something like that. Like, there's some really meaningful stuff on there that we've been able to help people do.
That's cool.
And then the team I know especially love seeing that feedback with what they've been able to help someone achieve.
Yeah. Well, that's cool with the wall of photos you were talking about earlier too. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, that's why we need to expand. I need a bigger wall.
I was going to say, your wall's getting pretty full these days.
Yeah. Oh god, I reckon I could double that. It's just out of space. Like, where the hell do you keep going? Where do you keep putting stuff?
The roof.
There's a roof. Bit of double-sided tape should be right. Oh, all right, gentlemen. Is there anything else in the finance world that you guys want to hit?
Not really. It's it's all going well, going smooth. If anyone's got questions, pick up the phone or hit the link.
Yeah, tell everybody how they can get in contact with you so that they got all that.
Yeah, phone number will be on there. Easiest way is probably just go through the link. It'll come straight through to us instantly.
Yep.
Boys will reach out straight away. And we can start seeing what we're doing for you, whether it's a build or a new car, deck consolidations. We'll get it sorted.
Boobs.
I should never have said it.
No, you shouldn't. No, shouldn't have.
Set
All
the
right.
whole tone.
The whole time for it. So,
Social media.
Wildside, fuck, that's me. foxfinancegroup.com.au.
That's us.
And you guys are on Instagram, Facebook, all that sort of stuff as well, depending on people's
LinkedIn. Yep.
LinkedIn.
Yep. And if you've got us on socials, sometimes we post up photos of the team and things that are going on as well, because we like to be active on there with different get-togethers. You can see there's some of the photos from the awards night.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
There's Dan.
Yep.
Dan, man.
Recognise him.
Oh, yeah. God, he hasn't changed. That's cool. No, you're doing good stuff. I think it's awesome. And, yeah, as I said, I recommend you to people all the time. So I think keep doing what you're doing. And if anybody needs anything, they know where to get in touch with you now. So
Good stuff.
Thank you guys for coming down. I know you got a shit drive on the way home, but at least the traffic will be gone.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
Thanks for having us.
No, very welcome. Thanks for coming down. It's there's a few bits and pieces in that I was curious on. So it's always good. One part about doing these is, the stuff that I'm learning, talking to lots of different people, because I live under a fucking rock in here. So it's cool. It's cool having these sorts of conversations and learning bits and pieces about what else is going on out there.
Probably the biggest takeaway, if I could leave one, is that regardless of whatever it is that you're thinking of financing, however wacky, weird, if you've been told by someone that lenders won't finance it or there's no way to do it, just talk to us first. There's normally a way to structure something to make it happen. Yeah.
Perks of having over 50 different lenders.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
helps
And
out.
someone to actually talk to, not just spitting out an answer.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's
Yeah,
it.
That's cool. Yeah. Very cool.
Sweet.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sam and Roudy. That's a cool name.
It's hard being in his shadow with that name.
You'll never forget it.
No, I can't believe your parents named you. That's awesome.
People spell it wrong all the time, though, which is really annoying. Especially like on my email signature, it's got my name spelled out perfectly, but it doesn't stop people from replying with it spelled totally wrong.
See that?
Time.
You'd have that with Sean too, because you got there's a few different ways to spell that, isn't there? Like at least two that I know of, but whatever. Ben's pretty easy. Although I get Dan a lot. Like Wildside Ben speaking, they're like, "G'day Dan, how are you?" And I'm like, "I'm not Dan."
Where do you get Dan from?
I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Beautiful.
Bye, everybody.